Airports are places where identity is checked constantly. Your passport, your ID, your boarding pass, your security screening, your face, your name, your date of birth. So, what happens when all of those systems appear to work and you are still detained by immigration agents? A US citizen named John Phillip, he was traveling from Atlanta to Las Vegas when ICE agents stopped him near the aircraft and handcuffed him. He had already gone through airport security, by the way. He had already been identified as a passenger. And he told the agents that he was a US citizen. But the agents, they were reportedly looking for another man. The explanation given later was mistaken identity. The agents were reportedly looking for somebody with the same surname and date of birth. But Philip said that the photograph shown to him looked completely different. And that raises a bigger question here. What happens when a government database gets the wrong person? Because let's be honest here, immigration enforcement increasingly depends on databases. Names, date of birth, addresses, immigration records, travel record, previous applications. When all these systems communicate with each other, they can make enforcement faster. But if one piece of information is wrong, the same tech can also make the mistake faster. And that is what makes this story so important. The issue is not that every US citizen traveling domestically will suddenly be stopped by ICE. That is not what the story demonstrates. The issue is the consequences of identity error inside a large enforcement system. And yes, according to sources, there are so many questions about interaction between airlines, TSA and ICE. An agreement allowed certain immigration-related information to be shared, meaning that when somebody is subject to immigration enforcement activity books, domestic air travel information can potentially reach immigration authorities. But again, this does not mean that every passenger is being treated as an immigration suspect, but it shows how interconnected the system has really become. Well, a flight reservation, it can become part of an enforcement process. And that means demonstration matters more than anything else. For immigrants with complicated status histories, previous removal orders, pending cases, uncertain documentation, traveling can require much more preparation now. You need to know your status, you need to know your document, you need to understand whether there are unresolved immigration issues that are connected to your name or not. Because an airport is not simply a place where you catch a flight. For somebody with an immigration issue, it can also become a place where government databases suddenly become very real. And yes, from an individual flyer, we now move to one of India's biggest business names. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the next story is about how a US legal case involving Mr. Gautam Adani has come to an end now.